Most traders think fear is a weakness, but what if I told you it could be your greatest strength as a trader? The top 1% of traders don't try to eliminate fear, they use it to their advantage. And once you understand how, you'll stop running from fear and start getting paid because of it. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how the top elite traders use fear to print profits and how you can rewire your psychology to do the exact same thing. I want you to comment below your biggest trading psychology challenge right now. I'm going to offer you some help. Now, fear has and continues to serve a very important purpose for human beings. Anthropologically, fear was a survival mechanism. It kept our ancestors alive. And I have an example of an octopus here, an animal, to exemplify this, but really we can put our ancestor or ourselves as traders in this exact same spot. We all have an animal mind that's designed for survival, that promotes fear in our body so we can keep ourselves alive. Whenever we perceive threats in front of us, a predator in front of us, thousands of years ago for our ancestor, this would be a saber-toothed tiger that they perceived was going to eat them. There had to be a fear response. If our ancestor saw a saber-toothed tiger and there was no fear in that situation, they would most definitely get eaten. But because of the fear response, they had an increase in adrenaline and cortisol, and they were kicked into a sympathetic fight or flight response. And the blood went from the internal organs to the periphery of the muscles. So they were now primed for a fight or flight response. That fear is being used to their advantage to keep them alive. So fear anthropologically had a very particular purpose. There was this fear of gaining the predator, which kickstarted the sympathetic autonomic response, and that kept our ancestors alive. So too, if they saw prey, there was a fear of losing that prey because that would mean starvation. The fear of loss would mean starvation. The fear of gain of this would mean death. So there was a fear of losing the prey, again, to kickstart that sympathetic fight or flight response to get them primed to capture after that prey. So fear anthropologically was developed as a survival mechanism to keep our ancestors alive. And human behavior and human nature never gets rid of old things, just builds new layers on top. So every individual watching this video, every trader, through the subcortical parts of the brain, the amygdala has the same survival response that will fire if it's not managed. Now, every trader has a fear of losing trades, losing their funded accounts, losing profits. Every trader deep down will most likely at some point in their journey have a fear of what happens if this doesn't work out for them, and the fear of time they've invested in trading. And being able to understand and interpret and use this fear to their advantage is exactly what the top 1% of traders do. So how can you as a trader think like the top 1% of traders and reframe fear to use it to your advantage? I'm working one-on-one now with a trader that came to me and said that I have this fear, this nervousness, that before a trade, there's this fear that comes over me and this nervousness. And I become afraid when I'm about to click the button. And I said to this trader that it's normal. If you're about to risk money, then the fear is a very normal thing. And the fear in that moment is making you more present and more attentive and more focused. Because if you didn't have the fear there, you'd almost have this nonchalant attitude where you don't care about the outcome of the trade. So the fear, the benefit of the fear in that moment is it's making you focused and making sure that you're putting money down on something that you can truly be certain that has an edge. So I said, instead of trying to run away from this fear and get rid of this fear, how about you use it to your advantage and let the fear in that moment keep you focused on each trade and ensure that you're taking a trade that's truly according to your plan and you're putting money down, so that healthy fear makes sure you're focused and you're adhering to your plan. And I said, it's a really interesting mindset reframe. Instead of trying to get rid of this fear, I'm going to start to see how this fear helps me in this moment, helps me stay focused, helps ensure that I'm making a wise decision in alignment with my plan. And it helps me ensure that I'm making a decision that's ultimately in the long run going to make me money. I said, perfect. Instead of trying to get rid of the fear on each individual trade, use it to your advantage to ensure that you're focused, you're present, you're sticking to your trading plan, you're making bets that you can be certain in because you've already done the testing and you have certainty in your trading plan. And you'll see when all those components are there and you're certain in your edge, you're certain you're taking a high quality trade, you've done everything to minimize risk, then putting on that trade, there's less of fear there because you have more certainty in a realistic outcome that you know over a long period of time is going to make you money. So let's start using the fear to your advantage to ensure that you're really present and making a wise decision in that moment. Just like if there's a healthy amount of fear and nervousness when you're about to go up and speak in front of a huge crowd of people, well, of course, that fear and that nervousness is going to make sure that you're prepared, you're planned, you've done everything you can to ensure that you have a great speech and you've practiced as much as you can. and you're going up there fully present with your audience. And the benefit of the fear is that it's holding you accountable to do everything you can to go up there and give the best possible presentation. If there was no fear there, you wouldn't care about it. You wouldn't think twice about it. You wouldn't put the effort and the energy into it. But the fear is holding you accountable to a higher standard of work and preparation so you can go up there and deliver the best possible presentation. And it's no different with your trading. Use the fear to your advantage on each individual trade. Now, traders also then have this fear of not making it and this fear of failure as a trader. And the only reason they're fearing the failing as a trader is because they're addicted to being a successful trader. They have this fantasy of this lifestyle and the glamour of being a successful trader. And the fear is there helping them balance out their mind to show them they haven't considered everything. And the fear is bringing to surface things that are important to prepare for and going in there and asking the question, okay, what is the worst case scenario here? What do I fear most happening? Me not being a successful trader, me being a perceived failure in my trading. And then asking questions again, what can I do to lower the probability of that happening and ensuring that I'm focused on priority work every day and I've got the drive and motivation to show up and give it everything I can to focus on priority work and find the specific action steps so I'm focused on priority. And then also, if that fear comes true, if the worst case scenario comes true, what can I do to lower the impact of that, the blowback of that? Do I have alternative options? Do I have plan B? So traders come to me and they say, I want to get rid of this fear of not making it and being an unsuccessful trader. And I say, hold on, the fear in that moment is actually serving you. We need to make sure that we go through and we utilize that to your advantage to ensure you're doing the priority work and you've considered things that you haven't been willing to consider. And just understand that fear does not come without its complementary opposite, which is greed. You'll see that whatever you're fearful about, if you take the exact opposite, you'll be greedy over. If you're fearful of taking a loss, for example, in your mind at the time, you'll be greedy and wishing for a win. And you can't separate the two. The more addicted you become to winning and making it and success in this one-side polarity, the more fears you're going to introduce because now you fear the opposite. You fear losing this or you fear the exact opposite. If you're addicted to winning and the pleasure of profit, you're going to fear losing that and you're going to fear the opposite, which is losing and taking losses. So the more greedy and the more addicted you become to winning, the more fearing of losses you're going to have. The more addicted you become to greed and being a successful trader, the more you're going to have the fear of failure. So you need to go in there and minimize your greeds about the outcome of each individual trade by using my free Bulletproof Your Trading Mindset tool, and you'll manage and mitigate the fears of losses on that individual trade. You need to manage and minimize the fantasies you have about trading, this one-sided idea of trading that you think you're going to get, the freedom without the constraint, the pleasure without the pain, the support without the challenge. Realize trading is like any other career path. You're going to have both benefit and drawback to being a trader or being a full-time trader. And the more you see trading for what it is and you ground those greeds and those fantasies, then you're going to minimize your fears. Your fears are not things you want to get rid of. They're pointing out to you and making you aware of things that you've been trying to block out and you're trying to get rid of. Use the fear to your advantage and you'll see yourself becoming a consistently profitable trader. Now, before you click away, I want you to click this video that's going to pop up on your screen. It's a 15-minute video that's going to help you master your trading psychology so you can stick to your plan, you can scale up with funding without sabotaging.